Looks like that is going to be the pick, which against Galio feels really good because he gets a lot better scaling than Galio does on the ult.
Yeah, I'd say it's a bit of a mixed bag because you don't really feel any threat in the laning phase. It's kind of like a pseudo-assassin as Sylas. You love squishy champions, you can all in. Can't really all in Galio. You try to E in, he's just going to out-trade you. But as you're saying, you at least get a lot more mileage out of that ultimate, being able to get in the middle of the enemy team, you know, save an ally, then be able to jump in with your E feels really nice. And look at both comps, right? LGD definitely have the more brawly, more skirmish-oriented, you know, going to transition well into late-game 5v5 team fights. And for BLG, you already said the name of the game early is to find picks by moving XinMo around the map. I'd say you really want to set up Kingen in the top side, obviously, because you have a supportive mid laner as well as a more supportive bot lane pick.
Kingen is definitely a player that we've seen carry on things like this, Camille, as well. If you're going to have Kingen in your roster, give him something to carry on. I don't like it when they give him the Ornn all the time, these team fight picks. I like to see Kingen able to stretch his legs, no pun for the Camille intended. But he is going to be up against this Volibear. And I'm not 100% sure how that matchup goes, Lyric, but I'd expect Camille to do pretty well against the tanky bear.
Like early on, Volley definitely should come out ahead. It also depends on his rune choice, right? If he goes some like press attack and do quite well in early trades, but Camille doesn't have enough damage to really win out in these all-in engages against, you know, the tanky bear. But as he gets towards that first sign-up point, you know, pick up things like the Triforce, he's going to do quite well.
So as we head towards the first game here of our second series of the day, a lot on the line for LGD. They're trying to fight their way up the standings right now. They're in 7th place. A win here would push them up to tying for 5th place. And in fact, a 2-0 would steal that 5th place spot away from Suning if they're able to get it. But BLG not going to go down without a fight. One thing we've talked a lot about over the season is that BLG, most series will have at least one game where they look exceptional. That's not really been the case as of recently. Their last 3 series have been 2-0 or 0-2. So they either look exceptional for the whole series or not at all.
You know, BLG have been looking a bit rougher, and even their only 2-0, I think it was over Rogue Warriors, right? And their other losses, yep, were EDG and ShadyG. So, yeah, we're going to be in an interesting place. And even this comp by BLG, I'd say, is very... It's very strange because we have these elements we talked about of like the pick early on, but transitioning into the mid game where we look at fights, it's like, okay, we expect Kingen to come on from a flank, try to lock down Kramer with the Hextech ultimatum, Galio follow in, and Wings is really going to be left to fend for himself in the backline. So I feel like that can open a lot of potential problems, especially with Langx and xiye, also 2 champions who can do massively coming in from a flank.
That's going to be the question is how these teams set up the fight as well, if they're going to be able to find those flanks for themselves. We are going to see a leash on the side of LGD here for Peanut, whereas we did not see that from Wings and XinMo. They're going to be able to just go straight into the lane. We are going to see the lethal tempo version of Ezreal as well. Generally more focused on the team fights, but also just down to player preference.
It is also a bit better in laning phase because Lethal Tempo, of course, gives you a lot more control over the wave as compared to Conquer. It also is slightly better in the laning phase for the fact that it's so hard to stack up Conquer in laning phases, Ezreal, you know, all the way up to the 12 stacks to where you can at least try to get a bit more mileage out of those autos.
Oh, good effort from Mark. The minion arrived at the last possible second. And I have to say, Kingen's did pretty well in these early levels against Langx. I guess at level 1, though, it's a different story.
We also we did see him go grasp rather than press the attack for Langx, so...
In fact, both top laners going for that grasp. XinMo pulled in by Mark. Is Kramer going to be able to continue this trade? It's one of the powers of Ashe as well. In the very early levels, you trade exceptionally well.
Yep, yes, he is, and this is why we kept highlighting a draft. We pretty much every phase I said, okay, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
When Ashe?
Yeah.
Ashe when? Come on. Yeah. I mean, we say that for a lot of champions. We did actually see basically all of the champions we talked about locked in the end. It just wasn't, the priority order didn't seem to quite make sense.
It was really weird, actually, with like kind of the way we ended up with both these drafts, and just kind of signaling my thoughts as well. I definitely prefer what LGD has picked up overall. Even going back to what Kim Goon said in the interview where it's like, hey, you know, drafting the more straightforward teamfight composition just always pans out better, and I feel like that's what LGD have brought to the table.
I'm not 100% sure what that graphic said, but I believe it said if LGD beats BLG, they will have another win on the scoreboard.
Well, they'll be locked in, so that's my guess.
That's true. They will be
but
locked in.
It could also say that.
I was memeing a little bit, but yeah, they will be locked in for playoffs,
geez.
and Langx might be locked into the grave right here. We're going to go to the bottom lane, though. XinMo having to flash away. Ignite is there. Kramer flashed underneath the tower. Might have just killed himself. But Wings can't quite do the damage in time. Jumps forward, but Mark's there to block.
And the most confusing part about the top lane trades is we have not seen Langx like trade in response, right? It's not like we're seeing Camille get the Q off and then, you know, Volibear come in with a Q or a W himself. It's Kingen will Q and Langx will just start running away, and he's just getting a ton of free damage done onto him because also then the sweeper will come out with the W. We're going to see the E all-in come in from Kingen, and it's just going to be so one-sided.
It's his time on RNG. It trained him that he will lose the fight. He will not have support from the jungle. He will not be able to battle this.
He will get hit in the face, and he will run away. It's kind of like it's kind of similar to Gimli, right? Where like you're trained to take the abuse.
Are you saying that's why he lost the 1v1 to Julitz?
Yes.
That was his training. Oh my goodness. Perhaps. But maybe this is more down to Kingen. Maybe it's the sheer intimidation in the top. He's got big legs, and they've got swords on him.
Yes, that is...
I wouldn't want to 1v1 that.
That is very true, but interesting to me is we see Mark hovering around mid right now, so potential place could come up. Looks like, okay, yep, he's going to set up for the Scuttle Crab as we see Peanut heading over. Right now, BLG's bot lane doesn't push, but actually looks like Meteor's just going to head up towards top side.
That's more like it, Langx trading back. That's what we wanted to see. I will say, Sustain going to be relatively even in that top lane as well, because obviously Camille is going to be able to build a bit of lifesteal with the Doran's Blade, with the Cull there, but also likely to go towards things like the Tiamat.
Also, it's easier for him to heal up also off the outer ring of his W as compared to like Langx, who has to get the second hit of his.
Has to be a really long trade to be able to get the 2 hits off.
Yeah.
Unless you can get it on a cannon. Cannons can offer a way to get 2 Ws off in a fight.
And obviously, again, the fact that Kingen did go with the Grass Sprout as well, so he also does extremely well in these short trades. But hey, we see very good gank setup coming in for top lane. We have the CC setup from the Volibear. Peanut can offer all the damage. Wave is pushing in. Kingen's going to go down.
Maybe. Does have his flash, and he has his hook shot. Camille is very difficult to gank.
He's not going down, you're right.
We'll see. Depends on how Kingen plays it. I've seen players miss hook shot, and it's not a good look, I will say. It's pretty easy to hit. Langx, that was an attempt, but that's not going to be a good trade for him.
Nope, and both top laners level 6 now, so now Langx is feeling extremely safe. Oh! BLG 3-man.
Kingen making the play here. In comes Galio as well. FoFo arrives on the scene. The taunt is there. Langx sticking around. Will finally go down. First blood goes the way of FoFo. Can they survive the fight though? Kingen's low, but that shield so clutch to keep him alive. Everybody on BLG barely getting away. The flash from FoFo. Now the fight with Peanut, but there are minions. Graves can't get past the minions. Meteor finally goes down. In goes xiye with the flash. Can't quite finish off Kingen. The taunt is going to be there from FoFo though. Turning this one around. It's 2 for 1.
And that was massive. Honestly, beautiful taunt coming out from FoFo, because when xiye TP'd in, xiye was taunted. So that could have been way bigger for the side of LGD. We do still see one member going down, but overall you pick up 2 kills after LGD go a bit aggressive. And I mean, 2-0 on FoFo, we've been in this position before.
Yeah, the Galio, it can carry if you can get the AP early, and he's going to have the opportunity to recall here. Already had that Hextech Revolver. I don't know if he'll quite be able to finish off his Proto Belt off the back of that play, but he'll at very least get the Kindle Gem.
Yep. So we do see he's also going to come into this big wave. So also shows, you know, Kingen, massive team player, letting FoFo get this. And I mean, after this wave, I would assume he's like extremely close. Actually could have had it, because he also bought an Amplifying Tome.
He might just be able to, honestly, like, FoFo might just be able to clear the next wave, recall again, and go get that Proto Belt, get back out onto the map. Because you can see his ultimate is already halfway off the cooldown. Like, for the side of BLG, why not just rinse and repeat now that there are summoners on cooldown? Hang on, Meteor. That was stylish. Just flashes over the wall with his Nimbus cloak, sprints over and takes away the crab.
I mean, we did say from draft, name of the game for topside for BLG. Name of the game would be topside for BLG. There we go. Words not working, especially after that first series.
He got there eventually. Meteor now getting chased down. Look at this CC chase. The arrow in midair. And xiye gets the killing blow.
Yeah, nice shot. Great Enchant Crystal Arrow. xiye now going to feel good. Even has the red buff, so... And LGD now going to be able to pick up a dragon as well.
Kramer basically is Robin Hood at this point.
Yes.
Being able to shoot it out of the air. Next time they're going to set up an apple on whoever they're trying to kill, see if Kramer can knock it straight off. That's William Tell, not Robin Hood, but, you know, both archers.
That's also what I was talking about. Sorry. Just to go
Was
back to
it?
him.
What, William Tell?
No.
I don't think it was.
With the trades in mid lane, where Sylas, it's so awkward to like E in because Galio's going to be able to outtrade you every time. WQ passive. But yes, William Tell. I listened.
I mean, I didn't have much more to say about William Tell other than shooting apples off of children's
Why
heads.
not?
I mean, like, William Tell was a questionable guy. Shooting apples off of children's heads is questionable in the first place, but he was really good at it. And quite often you'll find that if someone's really good at something, then they get a free pass, I guess. I don't know where I'm going with this one.
Meteor and BLG is really good at playing around topside. So we're going to see that again. But hey, Langx apparently is really good at warding topside.
There is a Rift Herald available. There's also Mountain Drake went the way of LGD to start this one off. So Meteor would love to grab that Herald. But you can see XinMo moving up. Mark's moved up as well.
Wings also just canceled Kramer's recall. Did use the ultimate, so now going to set up for a 4v4 on the top half of the map.
Kingen going to zip away from the play. Langx actually flashed there, which was suboptimal, to say the least. Used his ult as well. Meteor going to Hex Flash. But won't be able to find anything because Langx far enough away that he's safe. So after all of that, with Langx using so much, I would imagine that BLG have the advantage now. Should be able to grab the Herald for them.
We do still have all the ultimates up as well to set up that big wombo combo with, a Hextech ultimate into a Galio, or even Meteor going in with his ultimate, setting up a big play for FoFo.
Let's have a look. Tempered Fate from XinMo, trying to find the stun onto Mark. Here's a Crystalline Arrow onto XinMo as the Galio comes in. Kingen keeps himself safe with the ultimatum, dodging a bunch of damage out on the magical journey, but suddenly FoFo is all alone in the world. Gets taken down, and the fight's going to be extended by Mark. Here's XinMo with the depth charge, but it somehow doesn't hit there. And now it's suddenly LGD onto the Herald.
Yeah, this fight took so long, it gave both AD carries enough time to walk up, like farm a wave, walk up across the map and get here. And nice play coming out from LGD. We did see Kingen going aggressively. They tried to set up the Hextech Ultimatum Galio combo, as we talked about. Went a bit too far. LGD had the damage to pretty much burst him down right away.
There we go. Meteor wants to contest. The smoke screen is annoying, but Meteor gets it anyway. And he'll be able to grab the Eye of the Herald as well. So LGD, they won the fight, but it doesn't matter.
This series feels much different than last series.
How so?
Like
that we haven't had any base races yet?
No, like early game felt like, I'd say really dominant by DMO. Both times like, okay, like very solid early game. We're seeing like a bunch of macros, strong fights to where, I mean, we're seeing something this game. I'm not quite sure what BLG are looking for with this, but hey, the fact that it also ends up working out in the end with Meteor just able to walk up and smite a Herald. There was no macro there. There was no good mechanics or good team fighting.
There was a shutdown though. FoFo got shut down there. I think the goal went the way of xiye. Now he's the one with the bounty.
Yes, he is. And he's definitely sitting on the gold for GLP when he does want to look to back. He probably even has, surplus gold to pick up something, like boots as well.
Peanut is being real sneaky here. He's going to spot Kingen, moving his way down towards the mid lane. Scry's up, just going to try and clear some vision. Peanut doesn't pull the trigger on anything. And look how far ahead the mid laners are of everyone else in the game right now. FoFo and xiye both getting really fed.
Yep, and we do see the GLP coming out, picked up boots and a null magic mantle, so xiye in a good position for the next fight to use that GLP to set up his Abscond Abduct. And right now, just kind of looking at other items, right, we have the Cutlass coming out for Kramer. We finally saw the Sunfire Cape completed for Langx to where we just see Kingen sitting on some components right now. So if we do get to a fight for that Dragon in 1 minute and 5 seconds, I'm liking the look of LGD. And I mean, even in the previous skirmishes, right, LGD have been the ones coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's be honest, LGD are definitely the favorite. They're the team that you would expect, especially when it comes down to mechanics, to be able to pull out these team fights. Meteor getting his red buff contested right here, but it's because Infernal Drake is up in 40 seconds here. Peanut moving in to try and clear some vision and make sure that LGD are the first ones on the scene. Mark has a blast cone, so actually auto-attacks Meteor. Oh my god, he can't hit the blast cone, has to flash out!
Yeah.
That was unlucky.
That was not unlucky. I would not say unlucky.
That was suboptimal.
That was suboptimal. I like that word, but that's why I said this is not like our last series early game.
Unlucky attack moves. Unlucky attack moves. Like,
both teams not looking so polished, I think is fair to say.
Well, do you know what the opposite of polished is?
Yeah.
Scuffed.
Is that
which
really?
is a very aggressive word.
Is it?
In esports, at least.
I've never heard that word.
Really? Oh, if your shoes are scuffed, it means you've got scuff marks on them. Anyway, enough about shoes. That's going to be a couple of plates for FoFo.
And Vision is going to translate into a play for the Dragon. Neither top laner has TP, which I think is very important to watch out for. If BLG decide to do this, I feel like it's going to be critical for XinMo to hit a big temper fate because, as I said earlier, I definitely feel like LGD are favored going into this skirmish and all of their ultimates available as well.
So we are going to see the trades continue up in the top side as these guys go back and forth. But the Tiamat came through first. Now we'll go towards the Triforce for that Camille. Whereas Sunfire Cape already finished for Langx. So the trades, as of right now, assuming that he does hit the Sky Splitter, will feel pretty good for Langx still. But this Drake's still up. Neither team able to commit properly to it. But LGD are the ones that feel like they're really trying the hardest to wrestle control of the area.
LGD are one of our slower teams in the sense that they aren't the team that's going to go rush a Baron or overcommit to a Dragon too early on. They definitely want the full setup before they feel comfortable going onto the objective. That's going to lead to BLG getting a Dragon.
Nicely done here by BLG. It's going to be one Dragon apiece as well, so nobody rushing towards the Soul. And since it's a Cloud Drake, nobody would be rushing towards that Soul anyway, because, let's be honest, it's a Cloud Soul.
Yep. We do see some power spikes being hit, though, with Kramer getting the base, coming out with the Blade of the Rune King, so going to do pretty well in these early skirmishes. Obviously, the next thing that's going to come up on our map is going to be the next Rift Herald, so that will be the next critical point.
Yeah, and that's still going to be a little bit away. So let's just take a moment here, Lyric. I want to ask you a question, because when we look at this series, when you look at it on paper, obviously, in terms of the standings, in terms of the talent that's on the roster, LGD are the favorite. LGD should be expected to win this series. Honestly, should be expected to win this series 2-0. But there's something extra that I think is on the shoulders of LGD here, and that's that they are looking at playoffs, right? They're going to be able to get themselves to playoffs. But they need to look good against a team like BLG, because let's just bear in mind, FPX, for example. This is a team that haven't been looking so hot recently. It's going to be a bind on Kramer. He's going to be fine. FPX haven't been looking so hot recently, but even against DMO, even in that insane series, they're going to be willing to pull the trigger and make plays that you're not expecting. You have to be able to deal with that. If you can't convincingly beat BLG, that is a scary sign for LGD moving into playoffs.
I definitely agree, and I mean, we have seen the LGD have dropped to a lot of our top teams, right? They lost to top esports, they lost to JG, they lost to Sunni, they lost to FPX. So they're definitely the team with... Ooh,
they beat IG. We'll give them that. We do have a fight on our hands here as FoFo. xiye, sorry, is going to ult. It's not the Galio, it's the Sylas.
Two ults for one. Meteor, doing a good job getting a bit of value out of that engage.
I was excited for a moment there. I thought something was going to happen. We're going to see xiye has finished his GLP up against that Proto Belt of FoFo. I'm not going to lie. When this game started and we saw some brawls for Heralds, we saw all kinds of back and forth, I thought, all right, this is the kind of series I wanted. This is the kind of action. And then suddenly, Lyric, everybody's decided that they just don't really want to do anything.
I think it was me and you that casted FPX LGD, where LGD got a massive advantage and then did nothing. LGD is that sort of team that in the face of adversity will just watch you. They will stare aggressively.
What is the conclusion?
The conclusion is that
LGD
is the type of team that we talked about the last Dragon, right? That LGD, honestly, in my opinion, were the favorite going into that Dragon fight. Chose not to do it. Chose to reset. We have a Herald up right now. LGD, I'd say, potentially should be looking to, start a fight for this Herald. LGD aren't going to do it.
I will say, the team fight for BLG does look pretty good. With a Galio there, with Meteor on the Sett as well. There's a lot of CC for Kingen and Wings to just run wild. One of the things, obviously, being that Wings is on Ezreal, so he doesn't exactly do a lot in these early fights.
The thing that's just very, very awkward, again, we don't even have an item finished for Kingen yet, to where we do have Sunfire for Langx, and sure, you send Camille and FoFo into, let's say Kramer, as we've seen, and the rest of your team doesn't really have a good way of following up past Langx and Mark, to where I definitely favor the three-man backline core of LGD just being able to burst out Kingen or FoFo, as we saw in the previous fight. I feel like BLG's comp is very, conditional. You need the members of LGD to be split up in certain ways. You need to be able to get that backline access, and it just doesn't look as easy to where LGD's comp definitely could just stand in front of you.
So what you're saying is LGD have the easier comp.
Yes.
And in every LPL game ever, the easier comp wins. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. LGD 2-0. They've got the series in the back. Wait, no, hang on. They've got to play out the game. But yeah, I get what you're saying, though.
FoFo
big old front line, big old back line.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
FoFo is still ahead, though, which I feel like is a good point to make off you saying, like, hey, their teamfight's still scary. We do see 2 items now to where xiye is trying to finish off that Zhonya's Hourglass.
I mean, let's just bear in mind, yeah, the Proto Belt plus boost plus a full Zhonya's at 19 minutes. That's a very early point to be finishing the build off in that way. So FoFo's feeling fantastic off the back of the way this game has started out. And with that Proto Belt, Galio does a deceptively large amount of damage. So does an Ashe when he gets stunned up. Wings in trouble here. FoFo's going to be moving in. Great Tempered Fate from XinMo. Taunt going to be there to follow up, but the damage isn't quite able to come through. Yes, it is. FoFo against everyone in the backline as xiye answers with the AD carry on the other side. Mark going to be taunted up here. I mean, even if the CC doesn't hit, there's nothing he can do. And now suddenly, we find ourselves in a 3v2. Langx going to flash in onto XinMo, but not the ideal target for the fight here. FoFo desperately trying to get this damage out as Meteor is barely arriving, but BLG slowly but surely are winning out this fight. xiye desperate to finish that one off. It's not going to happen. XinMo falls as Langx gets one off the back end.
And that made no sense to me because you saw the 2 mid laners. FoFo went towards the 3-man core of LGD and went out to fight for them. xiye just went towards trying to zone out and pick off BLG, leaving the rest of his team by themselves. And again, both mid laners are the fed members of their team. So xiye going into 1 member compared to FoFo being able to go take down 2 or 3. Also didn't see where Langx TP'd, but it looked pretty far away from the fight.
It took a good old while. And Herald, in the meantime, got 2 charges left. Got the tier 1 in the mid lane. It nearly got the tier 2 as well.
Now we see FoFo has an Oblivion Orb, going to be hitting even harder.
Oh, hang on. Kingen. I thought he was going to be fine, but with the TP coming through, the hook shot is so long range, but Hextech Ultimatum, baby. This is the power of the Sylas.
Yep, still very strong, right? He is 3-1-2. Maybe didn't get the most bang for his buck in the last fight, but still was able to pick up a kill, and now they do have a bit of pressure in the bot lane.
They're going to be able to try and force something here, because Meteor is going to try and defend. He's got the Haymaker to keep himself safe. xiye tanking the tower for a very long time here with XinMo here and FoFo arriving. That's a nice little stopwatch to come through at the last possible second. In fact, it was a full Zhonya's. Now, with a Kingslayer, xiye has lasted a very long time here. He is doomed, but hey, it was a valiant effort. At
the same time, I mean, there's no objective up. You didn't stall for your team to be able to do anything. That was just an over-aggressive play, looking for the dive onto Meteor for no reason. Did you have any vision of any other member from BLG other than Wings?
Well, xiye did say in that interview that he's feeling confident, and you can see it. It was definitely a confident play. You can't take that away from him.
This also goes down to your point about LGD being the team that needs to show us something. It needs to show more because, to me, we have like this clear, I'd say, top 5, and I'll even say +1 of JDG, IG, TS, V5 Suning, and I'll even put in like FPX as the wild card to where I feel like W and LG are the 2 kind of outliers where
WE is like so far above everyone else that they just you don't even talk about them. Clear favorite. Is that where you're going with that?
It's kind of going the other way. I was kind of thinking that these are the 2 teams that it looks pretty ominous for them to get past the first round of playoffs. So even though, despite the fact that they both should be locked in for playoffs, it is not. They're not looking too convincing.
And it's something that, like, I want this LGD team to do well. I want this to be a team that's successful. Like Peanut. Who doesn't love Peanut, right? All of the interviews, all of the clips that you see of him, like
all the highlight plays.
Yeah, all of the highlight plays in game as well. Like, everyone loves Peanut. He's a great guy. xiye as well. I want to see this guy succeed. He has so much potential. This entire roster, I want to see them succeed, but it just feels like, I don't know. You know, I feel like you and I talk about this every single time.
Clutch factor?
Clutch factor.
I was thinking the same thing.
Where is it? You've got 4 players that have theoretically so much. They're going to try and use and abuse that clutch factor onto Kingen here. Not much of a segue. Kingen's going to get underneath the tower, but that is a Volibear. He's going to be fine.
I feel like a better way to put it in this scenario is killer instinct. It doesn't feel like LGD have a killer instinct. It just feels like...
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that frustrates me about this team. is when we looked at LGD in spring, with Peanut being basically the only strong player that was desperately trying to win, the rest of the team couldn't match up. We got then to summer, we see a better roster built around Peanut, we see like all of this talent, and I'm like, all right, they can follow up on Peanut's lead. But what it feels like has actually happened is Peanut has leveled down to the rest of this squad, not the other way around.
Yep, I mean, he was a clear top 3 jungler in spring, and he's still been good in summer, but ooh, Mark getting caught out.
They're going to be fine.
I mean, that bot lane...
Nobody's going to fight this game, I guess.
That bot lane dive...
Oh,
wide. God.
Hang on, xiye's found a 1v1 with FoFo. While the Galio's fed, 1v1 is not really a forte, but CCing them while Wings gets the kill. That is. Temper Fate goes wide, but Kramer locked in the Hextech ultimatum. No way out from FoFo's grasp. BLG are looking fantastic.
I mean, BLG have a 5K gold lead. And to make my point now, going back, this started from a bot lane dive that LGD were the ones who initiated. This game blew up after that misplay bot. BLG just, you know, fully benefited off of it, and they're pushing the tempo so quickly. And we talked about, hey, you know, this Galio is so far ahead right now. He's just hitting so hard in these fights. We look at this comp and we're like, okay, well, it only has 2 damage dealers that are really going to come online later in the game. No, now we have this massive mid-game Galio who's doing so much work.
3.5 items plus boots, and you know, xiye gets obviously CC'd up here, but there is a good amount of damage coming out there from FoFo as well.
And once again, you knew BLG were in your jungle. Like, they weren't pushing mid, they weren't showing on wave spot, they're not top, obviously. It was a very strange play coming out from xiye.
Mark's been caught out again, so is Langx. BLG are far enough ahead that I think that they can just straight up win any fight at this point. Mark flashes out, but he's taken down by Wings. Nice little Q there on the back of the fight. Tempered Fate flashed away from. BLG just grabbed themselves yet another kill. Now they're going to be rewarded with a Drake.
I definitely agree with the last thing you said, that it feels like at this point in the game, it doesn't really matter too much what LGD do. They're just going to lose out in fights. I feel like LGD definitely want to slow down the pace of the game. You know, work your way towards that Leandri's that we see xiye building, so it's going to be able to do more damage up against people like Meteor as well. See Peanut get some more items. Even see Kramer be able to get to his 3rd item.
Justin could be in trouble here. Needs to be cautious. He doesn't even have a tier 2, so has to be very safe in terms of where he positions around the map here. One thing that's worth mentioning as well is, with Baron now on the map, with a team that very clearly could take Baron if they're given the opportunity in BLG, they have 3 teleports across their team. The ability to play around the map is so glorious for BLG.
It is, and also just to highlight another thing, it looks like FoFo's going towards the death cap, so now we're going to this Galio that's moving across the map. It's going to be having so much burst damage. I mean, being able to play through a 3-lane setup, it just looks so hard for LGD right now.
The gold lead he has as well has given him so much luxury in terms of his build. Like, he's against this Sylas that theoretically should win in a 1v1 rank. But with the Morello coming in, removing the healing out of Kingslayer, suddenly that doesn't feel one-sided in favor of xiye at all. It feels like FoFo just wins 1v1 as well.
And even when xiye picks up the Leandri's, which is a massive spike for us with this GLP build, again, we're going to have FoFo about to pick up a death cap at that time. It doesn't feel like it's going to be relevant at all.
xiye trying to check into the jungle here. Meteor showed his face though. Kramer needs to be careful. Oh no, Tempered Fate goes in. Kramer, you did not... That's not your chickens anymore. Those are BLG chickens. All of the jungle is BLG's jungle.
Especially when you don't have Flash. Even more so their jungle.
Yeah. I mean, if you do have Flash, it's not worth it for chickens.
Oh, I agree with that completely. But still, at least then, I don't know. Actually, there's no at least then. I'm trying my best to
remember like 5 minutes ago, Lyric, when we were like, LGD need a really strong... Well, not 5 minutes, maybe 15 minutes ago. We were like, LGD, they've got to look strong here. They've got to look good going into playoffs. Well, BLG are showing the form that LGD should be in this series.
Yeah, this is pretty abysmal for LG. And again, they will not lock in. Like, I guess they still have a series after this, but they are not locked into playoffs. RNG, FPX, these spots are still up for grabs.
You're absolutely right. LGD still with 9 wins, I believe. Not quite because of RNG that can ruin everything for them. Kingen onto Langx has a lot of damage. FoFo flying across the play as well. Gets in on top of everyone. xiye there onto Wings though, able to at least equalize somewhat. Kramer free firing in the backside, might be able to finish off Kingen. This could be the turnaround. This could be the play from LGD. Kramer has to try and survive as FoFo gets onto him. Should be able to do so though. LGD have somehow won a fight.
I love that you say somehow because, right, the fight went in two directions. We saw one fight behind the red buff pit and one fight in front of it. Honestly, not quite sure how LGD came out ahead, but point is, as you said, Kramer got to deal free DPS. No one got on top of the AD carry. FoFo not able to burst him down. We see xiye on the opposite side of the fight. Let's actually get a better picture here. We see Kingen, the one to go in onto Langx. He's going to get taken down early. Meteor going in on the other side of the fight. Looks a bit too early, but they get a massive wombo combo. xiye going to do well taking out Wings here. Kingen able to take down the Graves, but I don't know why they don't just turn on to not on Langx, onto Kramer, but yeah. Kramer able to deal the damage.
I mean, like, everyone on this team does have pretty long cooldowns as well. So perhaps just everything on cooldown there so they can't actually get onto Kramer.
And you could see they felt the threat from xiye. That's why they were turning around, you know, to try to run the opposite way. Yeah. But
can we just take a moment to appreciate the one guy from the Smash Bros community that created the word wombo combo? Just in the spur of a moment, in the middle of a high play.
Is that really weird?
Turned around and said wombo combo. Yeah, it was like happy feet wombo combo. And it's lived on in League of Legends for like 10 years now. It is an official term, essentially. I don't know who that guy is, but bravo.
Thank you, sir. And speaking of appreciating people, xiye 5-3-2 has now picked up the Oblivion Orb as well.
He's closed the gap somewhat. XinMo been caught out here. Redemption should be able to keep him safe though. As xiye grabs the Tempered Fate. Not the best ult to steal as Sylas, but he might be able to disengage this fight. Langx trying to get out, and that's a great Tempered Fate from xiye. Langx buying time as Meteor goes in with a Haymaker. Mark goes down, and Wings once more. It's a good arrow, but it's not good enough. Hextech Ultimatum as Peanut cannot get out. Another kill for Kingen, and another fight for BLG.
Yeah, and BLG looks like they're going to be able to turn mid, take mid inhibitor tower, take mid inhibitor, then probably take the Baron. Actually, 30-second death timers. Yeah, they're just going to end.
They got a long old while on Peanut, a long old while on Kramer. xiye has to go insane here. Him and Langx 2v5. But I don't think it's possible. First tower goes down. They don't even need minions. They can just walk this one in. Down go both the towers. It's time for the fight. Showstopper, I don't think it's going to do much, but xiye's going to make his best effort anyway. Now trying to get out the backside of the fight, but BLG, they don't need to chase him. He's trying to buy time. He's trying to stop this. BLG, looking fantastic, looking good, despite the standings.